All right, Rap Soup. I'm Matt, it's Mike and Nick, and we just finished listening to pretty much every album from 1998. And I think that based on our pre-recording conversation, there's some agreements and disagreements, but I thought it was amazing. I listened to 22 albums again, and yeah, I think that there was only maybe one I didn't really care for out of all of them, maybe two. Every year, just we keep saying it, we're like a broken record, but every year kind of feels like it keeps getting better. Even though 95 and 96 were like a climax of the decade, hip hop is still advancing here, and it's pretty cool to see. What do you guys think?
Yeah, like I said, pre-talks, I realized I was a little less into 98 than you guys, but there's no doubt that what's happening right now is shaping the future of music. Like, there's a bunch of different sounds going on in these late 90s. It's different flows, different styles, it's the same genre, but there's like a huge shift in like the overall sound. So that's kind of interesting. I didn't think it was a bad year by no means, just I liked other years more. We're going to see what happens going forward.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Mike. I feel like at this point, we're really starting to see branching off of a bunch of different subgenres in rap. And 1998 had a ton of great albums that all sounded, to me, a lot different. There weren't too many albums that were very similar this year for me.
Yeah, there's a lot that were like original. There was a lot of originality, and then there were a handful of albums though that were kind of still going off that mid-90s style.
Absolutely.
Like, one that I thought that way about was Third Eye Vision by Hieroglyphics. It was fine. I didn't really care for it. I think I saved one song, but it kind of sounded like it was a little outdated at that point to me. Maybe I'd have to listen again, but pretty much everything else was different than before and advancing in ways in production, in the production aspect. Like even Tribe Called Quest, you could sound like they still had like their roots and like their jazzy boom bap, but it was like more refined and like advanced than it was with their older albums in a way.
Yeah, people were starting to experiment a lot more.
All right, pause here to take a look at what we listened to for 1998.
So before we get into our top fives, what are some honorable mentions you guys have?
I have Extinction Level Event by Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes 3-album run, The Coming. What was last year? I already forget. And Extinction Level Event. Crazy. So good. 4 out of 4. Do the Bussa Bus is one of my favorite songs in 1998. So sick.
So sick.
Yeah. DMX, Stark and Hell is Hot. Really liked it. More so than I thought I would. I never really listened to it all the way through. I just knew some songs. But I thought it was really good. And then number 3, I have Kuruption by Kurupt. Amazing music. But it was just a little too long. It was like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something. And every song was like 5+ minutes. But really, really good rapper. Really good features as well. But I never listened to a Kurupt album before, and I've always been interested since Eminem said he's one of the best ever until I collapse. But I just never listened to him. I just only knew songs, a handful of songs he's featured on, but definitely a take someone, it's understandable why someone would have that take in the late 90s, early 2000s that he was one of the best ever, because it's really good. It was just a little too long for it to come close to my top 5, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Couple honorable mentions I want to give. 400 Degreez by Juvenile. I don't know if this is the beginning of New Orleans hip hop. I didn't really dive into to the facts, but if it was a great beginning, and it was crazy to hear Lil Wayne rapping in 1998. And then my other one was Money, Power, and Respect by the Lox. All I knew about the Lox before listening to this was that one song on Life After Death. And I put this on, and the first song, I forget the name, but it just started so hard. And they were so good at rapping, and I didn't look back.
The Lox are so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
And then I got one to give, and it's kind of, we were talking about this because we all happened to listen to it at like the exact same time without coordination, so we were texting in our little group about it. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Fantastic album. I understand why people say it's one of the best and when it's their favorite. This is not a shot at Lauryn Hill's album. It was fantastic. It's not a rap album. It's just straight up not. It's R&B. There's a couple rap songs on it, and there are a couple very good rap songs on it. It's like 75-80% singing. I don't know if I'm calling it a rap album, but nothing against it. What I do have something against, though, so Goodie Mob's Soul Food. We all had it like top 3, top 4, top 5, whatever. We all were raving about it. Some of the coolest beats with some amazing voices on top of them. I think we all gave it a 4 out of 4, and it deserved it. Still Standing by Goodie Mob? Not even close. Maybe half as good. A lot of songs I really don't want to listen to again. I just thought it was more boring and plain. The voices weren't as sick. I didn't really like CeeLo's singing as often as it was. Even though I love his voice, it didn't click. But Black Ice from that album is one of the best songs of all time. And even still, it couldn't really prop the rest of it up. But make sure you listen to that song if you never have. And then The Love Movement by A Tribe Called Quest, I didn't think was bad. I just think they could do and have done so much better with their previous 4, that this one kind of felt a little too simple and a little more too much of the same, but like not like but worse. I'm not. It definitely wasn't a bad album, but I just hold their abilities higher than what this album gave me. So those are my mentions.
I loved The Love Movement. I thought...
Yeah, I also liked it.
I liked it a lot. It's not my favorite by any means. It's not even in my top 3 Tribe Called Quest albums, probably, but they got help from, like, Jay Dilla and shit, and I love the beats. I think it's a really chill album. I don't know how else to put it.
Too chill.
It's
chill for me.
Yeah. Dude, that's the thing.
Of, like, empty space.
That's the thing with the Tribe Called Quest, though. Like I said in our earlier video, like in 1990, it's just kind of like vibe music to me. Like how people today like the not much lyrics and it's just like good beats and shit. That's what this album is to me. I won't revisit it often, but I saved a handful of songs that I could listen to all in a row and like chill out.
Because this is the 5th one we've listened to by them, right?
Yeah.
The 5th album. Yeah, the other 4 were all better. To me. Even though it's like the same theme going on, I just thought they were executed better. But I still gave this a 3 out of 4. I didn't think it was bad. I actually gave it a 2. But I didn't think it was bad.
They definitely went a different route with this album.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as good as their last few.
No, but that's fine. All right, now we're going to move into each of our top 5 albums of the year, and we're going to start with Nick.
All right, so my top 5. I had number 5, Docs the Name by Redman. I know I like Muddy Waters more and probably What the Album more, but I don't know. This album, it's, Matt, you said it was fun. It's just like a fun album, and he's so good at rapping that I don't know. It might be my favorite Redman album, but it might not be. Who knows? Number 4, I have Moment of Truth by Starr. The past couple Starr albums, I was kind of lukewarm on, but this one blew me away. What DJ Premier was doing, I don't know if you guys feel the same way about this, but DJ Premier on that album was almost as good as Outkast producing in 1998. And it was the first time Guru really caught my attention as a rapper. It was amazing. Number 3, I had Capital Punishment by Big Pun. I feel like anyone that knows about rap knows Big Pun is one of the best rappers of all time. And this is his only album that came out while he was alive. And he is just going crazy on this album. It's a great listen. Number 2, I had Volume 2 by Jay-Z. I don't know what more I could say about Jay-Z at this point. It's his 3rd year in a row being 1 or 2 in my list. And he's just so cool, so powerful. The beats, like we said before, are just advancing, and he is at the forefront of it. And then number 1, no question about it, is Aquemini. It's probably Outkast's best album. Might be their second best, I don't know. But Big Boy coming on to every single beat is like the best anyone's ever come on to a beat. And then, of course, Andre 3000 is amazing. And like we were saying again with the experimentation, they're like the experimental guys in the mainstream of hip-hop back then. And man, it's good.
Agreed. Cool stuff. So for my top 5, my number 5, I had Moment of Truth by Gangstar. Unbelievable rapping. The flows were kind of similar throughout, but it's just like 100 or like 80 minutes of just pretty much straight rapping over some smooth beats. It was so cool, and like meaningful lyrics too. You know, touched on topics, situations, settings, events, blah blah blah. Real sick. Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX Volume 2 had Moment of Truth in it, and it was like a PG-13 game, so they couldn't actually swear, but they were able to say ass. And I remember every time the song came on, I was a little kid, that whenever they played ass, I'd be like, oh my god, a swear word. You know, stupid kids shit, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Number 2, I had number 4, I had Volume 2 by Jay-Z. Listening to Jay-Z albums, I realized that I either love the song or don't care to hear the song again, which is why I didn't have Volume 1 on my top 5. But it's still Jay-Z. It's still just the biggest shit ever, and it's a really good album. Number 3, I had Tical 2000, the Judgement Day. I just love the way Method Man raps. It's a bunch of quick songs and then skits, and it's just what I love about rap music, and it's what I love about Method Man. A fantastic album. Number 2, a lot of years this might be number 1. It's definitely in the running. Not this year because of what number 1 is. Capital Punishment by Big Pun. This is like as good as rapping can be. On an album, you could be this good, but you can't really be better. That guy can spit like none other at times. It is so crazy. It's hard, it's foul, it's rough, but it is so sick. And then number 1, I'm also having Aquemini by Outkast. It's just a sound unlike any other sound. It's Outkast at their best. It might be number 1 for me, probably is number 2 for me, maybe number 3 for me, but regardless, it's one of the best albums ever made. And Andre's verse on Aquemini is one of the best rhyming schemes anybody has ever done on any rap song in history.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. All right, my number 5, Docs to Name 2000 by Redman. Like Nick said, I don't know if it's my favorite Redman album because Muddy Waters is so good, but something about listening to Redman's discography from the beginning and getting to this point and just seeing how he advanced, he's so good that this album is literally just a jam fest. It's just a bunch of funk jams and he's kicking it, and it's some of the sickest shit. Before listening to this album, I only really knew I'll Be Dat with the Zim Zima, Who Got the Keys to My Beamer, that song. There's some references throughout rap post 1998 to that song, but I don't know. It's the funkiest album of the year and some of the most fun rap, so that's my number 5. Number 4, Most Def and Talib Kweli, Black Star. That's just some raw, fun, underground rap. Some great lyricism. Probably with one album, they're definitely in the top 10 duos of all time. It's like a positive form of alternative rap. I don't know how to explain it, but it's definitely underground, but kind of with some light being shed on it at the time. It feels like it was underground style, and I don't know. I think that they were doing shit with Dave Chappelle or something, and so people knew about it. But it was like, to me, Black Star feels like really underground but popular at the same time. If you get what I'm saying.
I think that's exactly like how it was.
Right. I think that's...
Yeah.
Because I think what they were doing is they were rapping in, like, New York at, like, parks and, like, getting crowds and shit from what I know, or what I think I know. And then, so it was, like, some underground rap in a circle at the park, and, like, people would come and watch because it was so good, and that's kind of how they got noticed, maybe. I could be wrong, but... number 3, Volume 2, Jay-Z. It is so good, and it's a lot of people who would maybe watch this. I'm not sure. From a lot of the comments we've got so far, a lot of people are kind of into the 90s stuff that's not so commercial. This is definitely a uber commercial Jay-Z album, maybe his first of that degree. But I don't think it takes away from how good it is. I think it's amazing, and like Nick said, like the production was advancing, and he was pushing leading the charge for that. Bunch of classic songs and stuff. I forgot what I was about to say there. All right, number 2, Capital Punishment by Big Pun. God, I love that album. It sounds like 1998. It sounds like the late 90s. It's not as good of an album by any means as Ready to Die or Life After Death. But one of my favorite debates that I want to get more into and discuss at some point is who was a better rapper, Big Pun or Biggie? I mean, it's kind of... The obvious answer is Biggie, but like I think there's some arguments to be made there, because Big Pun has that deep voice, that deep in his throat. He's unbelievably smooth, tons of flows and cadences, and just he might have said more words than Biggie. So I don't know. We should discuss that at some point. But it's Biggie as of now. And then number 1. Aquemini by Outkast. It's one of the best albums of all time. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. So, as you guys can see, we have crowned Aquemini as the best rap album of 1998. And deservingly so. This is Outkast. Like I said, this is about as good as Outkast can possibly be. It's not... Like, it's definitely a smoother album, like a more chill album compared to their next one that's about to come up. It's a lot more laid back, a little easier to listen to sounds, but there's just something about Aquemini that at any time you put any song on, it's the perfect song. Spodioti Dopalicious. Whoo! Dude, that in the car in the summer, some of my favorite stuff ever.
It's
slowly driving.
It's like the smoothest song ever made.
I was gonna say I said I was just gonna leave it at that, but I forgot. I wanted to agree with Nick. Big Boy, especially on Aquemini, might be the best of all time at coming into a verse. Every single song, his verse entrance is like the sickest shit ever.
The first 20 words he says on every song is like the best part of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, no joke.
He's so underrated, dude. He's so in Andre 3000's shadow a lot of the time, and I'm sick of it. He's all time, dude. He is amazing.
Is it just because Andre's lyrics were so much more unique?
Andre was just
their rapping was not very far apart.
No, it's just Andre 3000 was just like
Dude,
more of a
bigger
unique
personality.
character.
Yeah, he had a bigger
wizard.
personality. Was more like in the forefront of the face of them between the two. And dude, I mean, like I said, his voice is one of the best music voices of all time. Like, he can sing so beautifully. The way he raps when he goes real smooth or real fast, and how often he connects like the last word of a line into the first word of another line. How he makes that little scheme happen is kind of like pretty much really unique to him. Like, I don't see a lot of people doing it like that. Not that no one else has, but like I feel like he's like the king and the originator of that type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought his voice was like a rubber band. Like, I don't know. It was like elastic around the words he's saying. Like, especially on synthesizer.
Oh, dude, him on synthesizer is so crazy.
Dude,
His
it's
voice.
like coming back and forth, and he's just going off.
Yeah. It's just some of the most unique flows and like verse structures ever on this album.
Dude, and
Yeah,
real quick, sorry. It's called Aquemini. We're not astrology guys at all, but sounds like they kind of were. So Aquemini is Aquarius and Gemini put together, and apparently people with Big Boy's the Aquarius, Andre 3000's the Gemini. And apparently the Aquarius personality is free-spirited and eccentric, and that's kind of like Big Boy here, whereas a Gemini is intellectually curious and like constantly juggling a variety of passions, etc. And yeah, so that's kind of with their rap styles, it's kind of telling of the name of the album in a way, if you're into astrology, which I'm not, but I just wanted to bring that up because that's what it is.
No, that's fair.
it was cool. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. Nick, you were saying something though.
Was I?
I think I interrupted you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should we do our top 3 songs?
Yeah.
Dude, we could talk about Aquemini for like hours.
Yeah. All right. So, what are you guys' top 3 songs from the album?
It's so
No
tough.
order.
Damn.
See, funny enough for me, as much as I love everything on the album, and I do love everything on the album, my top 3 are like the easiest pick. One of the easier picks so far. I'll just start, I guess.
Yeah, you go.
Go ahead.
My first one is the song Aquemini. Like I said, Andre's last verse, but every verse on there, it's just all-time rapping. 2 is Rosa Parks. That is so fun. I love the fun stuff. The beat, the rhyming, just the whole outro being all long and musical. It's perfect. And the other song I mentioned for number 3, Spodioti Dopalicious. There's so many lines in there that crack me up, and it's like hardly a rap song. It's more not like spoken word, but they're just kind of telling things in the middle. It's less like, formatted rap song, but the beat on there with when the trumpets come in, that thing just kicks me perfectly every time.
Yeah. My top 3 in no order are Skewed on the Barbie. It might be one of the sickest songs of all time. Dude, and Raekwon.
That's how you got me into Outkast, is that song.
Dude, that beat with all 3 of them rapping with Outkast and Raekwon. Dude, Raekwon's verse might be a top 3 feature of the 90s, if not all time. I'll probably have to go with Aquemini as well. It's hard to touch Andre's verses on that one. And then 3rd is Synthesizer. Dude, is Rosa Parks through the Art of Storytelling Part 1 maybe the best run of songs in an album that's not ready to die romantic?
Dude, I would
It's
even
definitely
include
up there.
Return of the G.
Yeah, even that.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah,
Return of
the first 7 songs of this album is the craziest thing ever.
The first 8.
8.
Yeah. Dude, and this time around, I was really, really into Chonky Fire more than I ever have been.
Chonky Fire's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
What a way to end an album.
When we listened to it on CD last week with those speakers, I was freaking out at Chonky Fire. That's a crazy way to end. But,
Yeah.
All right, what are your top 3, Nick?
Mine are also skewed on the Barbie at number 1. Talk about Big Boy coming out and do a song.
Yeah.
And number 2, I'm probably going to have to go Aquemini. As you said, it's one of the, maybe the best verse of all time. Not just rhyming, but also what he's saying. Like, if you actually read the lyrics, it's like, why is this guy so weird, but why is this so amazing?
Yeah.
And number 3 is Return of the G.
Really?
That is such a good way to start an album. That beat, and like, it's like dark, and Andre's like, it's, I imagine him, he's like leaning in a chair, spitting, and I don't know, the feeling that song gives me is just crazy.
I love that pick. It's adventurous. I'm so into it.
Yeah, I
That
didn't
is your
think.
top 3.
I thought you were gonna
that's
say.
really good.
I thought you were gonna say synthesizer or slump. To be honest, but
Slump is all time. Synthesizer, it was between Synthesizer and Return of the G, but yeah.
dude, if imagine if they added an extra verse or 2 on a Rosa Parks instead of having half the song being just like southern,
Yeah.
like jam.
Would have loved another verse from each of them.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. It's one of the biggest drawbacks of Outkast.
I think it's their single biggest drawback.
That
Very
and-
rarely does Andre and Big Boy both have multiple verses.
No, it's just that song and Bombs Over Baghdad where there needs to be more verses.
One last thing we should mention about Aquemini and why it's so amazing is, I don't know if you guys remember, but in like 2014, Obama said that Liberation was his favorite song of all time. The President of the United States' favorite song of all time was on Aquemini. So if that doesn't tell you that it's the best album, I don't know what does.
That is so funny.
No.
I would like to thank you all for watching. If you did watch this and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, because most of the people watching these videos are not subscribers. And if you are a subscriber and you clicked on this, thank you. 2, like the video, please. If you put a comment, we'll respond to comments. We respond to every comment. We like engaging in the comments. We'll talk to you, full conversation, or just something quick back and forth. Doesn't matter. But so, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Peace.